Developing tonight, President-elect Donald Trump promising to repeal and replace President Obama's signature law. Back in 2010, when the law, ObamaCare, was being written, Republicans asked for a seat at the table. And here is how President Obama responded to his former rival, Senator John McCain.
My constituents and Americans now who overwhelmingly reject this proposal say go back to the beginning. They want us to go back to the beginning. They want us not to do this kind of legislating. They want us to sit down together and do what's best for all Americans, not just for some people that live in Florida or happen to live in other favored states.
Let me just make this point, John, because we're not campaigning anymore. The election's over.
I'm reminded of that every day.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Joining me now in an exclusive interview, Dr. Ezekiel Emanuel, who is the chief architect of ObamaCare and vice provost for global initiatives at the University of Pennsylvania. Great to see you again, Doctor.
Nice to be here.
So let's just talk about what they can do. Because the Democrats pushed this through with 51 votes, citing budget reconciliation, which is basically a way to get it through without all the
wait. We had 60 votes in the original Senate proposal.
But then they lost to Scott Brown in Massachusetts, and they had to use budget reconciliation to get a bunch of it through. So what can the Republicans undo?
So reconciliation deals with anything financial that affects the federal budget. You can deal through reconciliation, which is a 51-vote majority. Stuff that doesn't deal with money, you cannot repeal.
So can they take away the funding mechanism of the law?
Yeah. I mean, you can.
What would that do to the law?
If you wouldn't have subsidies, the exchanges don't work. You can't pay for Medicaid expansion at the states. They can certainly wreak havoc in a number of ways, even without repealing it. I mean, there are subsidies for people below 250% of the poverty line that they get for paying co-payments and deductibles. They take those subsidies away, which they certainly can, and insurance companies will bail on the exchanges. So you can certainly wreck this law. I mean, it doesn't take a lot to wreck a law. The question is, what do you do for the 20 million Americans who have gotten insurance out of this, for the hospitals who no longer have bad debt, for the insurance companies that have rearranged their products? The Republicans keep talking about replacement, but they've never given a credible bill that'll get everyone insurance, including people who have pre-existing conditions at an affordable price.
Okay, so let's talk about the pre-existing conditions, because that's popular for people.
Very popular.
They like being, but the problem is, as predicted, there are too many sick people taking advantage of the plans, and not enough young, healthy people there to supplement it. So if President Trump called you, Dr. Emanuel, and said, you know it's going away, I'm changing it, I got to get rid of the bulk of this law, how can I keep pre-existing conditions covered and not gut the rest of the good, and not have a mandate and not have all the unpopular things about the law? Possible?
No. So what they're proposing is to have these high-risk pools, not just to have a number of people who are older or sicker, but to super concentrate them and give them subsidized insurance at the state level. It's about the most inefficient way of giving people insurance. For just 3 million people in those high-risk pools, it costs $25 billion to pay for them. That is not a good proposal. You have to have a mandate if you are going to say anyone with a pre-existing condition has to get insurance.
Go hand in hand.
Inextricably linked, and you can't have both. And the American public, they don't like having both, but that's the way the insurance market works.
How does it make you feel to see the law now on the chopping block? I'm just curious.
What do you think? You don't have to be a psychologist to be I'm very upset, because I think we did a very positive stand. No matter what's your metric, if it's getting people insurance, we have about 20 million people who got insurance. If it's cost control, the ACA has definitely brought costs down. And so it's been a pretty big success. Now, public doesn't view it that way, but that's a different issue.
Rising premiums and so on, which we've talked about before. Doctor, good to see you.
Nice to see you. Nice to be here.